to the NORL FIA GT3 series. If you just stand by with us, we'll be right with you for qualifying for round 3. So as you can see, the drivers making their way out onto the circuit in the Spanish sunshine. A much welcome change for the drivers, I'm sure, given the absolute wet scenario that was Brunner in this time last week's qualifying. We're just getting the opening tweets and stuff sent out to let you guys know we are live, so just stand by. As you can see, the car's out on the first ever warm-up laps. It seems, I say it seems, it's obvious that the drivers are allowed to change cars whenever they feel like it, it looks like. So if you see drivers in different cars every other race and you're wondering why, that's the case. There's no restrictions on changing cars, which it depends on how you look at it. But personally, I'm not a fan of it, but that is the stance they're taking on, and we'll see. Gives the drivers their favourite car for each round out, I'm sure. So we are just getting the tweet sent out now to inform people that we are live. Tweet that out, and we can have the full attention then to qualifying then, as Nemesis comes towards the end of his outlap to begin his first flying lap of the series. Looking a bit of a handful to drive, it must be said, for Nemesis at the moment. As we come down turn 1 then, we will ride on board then with Nemesis racing down towards turn 1. He's going to be looking for that 100-meter board. He'll slam on the brakes hard and instantly aim for that inside line. He goes a little bit wide and loses the rear end slightly, and therefore loses a bit of back-end speed. But continuing on this lap, he's quite wide. He wants to be closer to the inside apex. He'll now find the outside apex instead, and then he'll want to brake heavily and aim for this inside curve. But again, he misses his braking point, goes off the track, and that is a ruined lap for the man who won in Bathurst. Other drivers out on circuit looking to begin their laps as well, but who is on a lap? Cone Joker is the first man to set the first flying lap of the session. Galactic Skull 2 did take pole position last time out. He now takes pole position by 0.4 of a second so far in this stage of the race. We can see more cars coming across the crowd. Kedshi now takes provisional pole position by less than 1/10 of a second. Chaza with a very much invalid lap. JFD will put himself up into P4. Next up to the line will be the bright yellow BMW, I'm sure, of the Freaking Joker. Up to the line he comes. Sorry, that's not the Freaking Joker, that's Murcielago. Just over 0.3 of a second down on Kedshi's lap time. We still have Anil Tanovic, Beamer Black, and Mark, as well as Nemesis, all out on flying laps. Nemesis coming towards the end of his flying lap. It's been an abysmal one, to say the least. He'll have to improve on it if he wants to challenge for pole. I'm sure you can't take pole by going off the circuit in the way which Nemesis did earlier on, but up to the line Nemesis comes, and he will set a time of a 150.8, which is only good enough for 6th. Slowest of the valid laps. Coming up to the final corner now, it looks like Anil Tanovic has managed to pass Beamer Black, which can't have helped his lap time, but up to the line comes Anil Tanovic to set his first flying lap. And it puts him P7. Beamer Black goes P9 with a very invalid lap. And Altanovic, not a very good lap from him either. The freaking Joker still yet to leave pit lane. Meanwhile, it looks like Kedshi and Kernjoker continue for another lap. So let's see what Kernjoker's second attempt at qualifying will give him. Up to the line he comes. Across the line, any improvement for Kernjoker? It is. It's enough for provisional pole position. Galactic Skull 2, will he find improvement and take it back? Yes, he will, by 1.2 seconds. Incredible lap from Galactic Skull 2. Kedshi was the fan who drew the first blood in the first stage of qualifying. Can he do it again? No, very minuscule improvement. Not much worth saying. JFD coming up to the line next, following Chatter, who goes up into P5, just over 3 seconds off the pace. JFD crosses the line, doesn't improve enough. Murcielago will be next as he comes up to the line with his headlights on. Not sure if that's for extra speed, but just under 2 seconds is the gap. And he now puts it to just over a second. Galactic Skull 2 then still leading the way. As JFD has gone for a little spin on the start of his third qualifying lap. It's not gone well. Murcielago just misses him. Crazy scenes as Nemesis Racing will be the next man who needs to improve on his lap time. 4 seconds off the pace, comes through the final chicane. Very tricky to get on the power, but he will get on it, and around the final corner he will come up to the line. Can he challenge the Bentley for pole position, or can he just improve from P7? He's followed by the sister Renault of Mark. He goes up into P5, just under 3 seconds off the pace. Mark sets his first valid lap, which will put him all the way up in second, just over 7/10 of a second to the Bentley. It's very much advantage Bentley right now. As the next boys we will see come up to the line, looks like there will be Beamer Black, who improves for P6, and Anil Tanovic, who does not improve. Beamer Black then goes up into P6 with that time. Good lap time. The freaking Joker out on his first ever lap, encountering some traffic, as JFD's really having a hard time with the Audi. As Kernjoker comes up for his third attempt of qualifying, his third lap up to the line he comes. No improvement for him. Will Galactic Skull 2 find an improvement to extend his advantage? Says his lap's invalidated for exceeding track limits, so that's why he will not be improving. But you do have Kedshi coming up to the line. Anything from him? He takes pole position. Kedshi takes pole by 4/10 of a second, so Galactic Skull and Mark will all need to go again if they want pole position. Chaza across the line doesn't find an improvement, stays P4. Murcielago, and the man in the BMW, took pole in Bathurst. Can he take pole in Catalunya up to the line? No improvement for Murcielago. Next up, we'll have JFD coming to the line. He's had a few spins on this lap. I don't expect anything from that lap. I'm pretty sure it's an invalid lap anyway. We look to see who's out on track, who is where. Nemesis should be coming up to the final chicane again, and he is. Here he is. Through the final chicane and round the final bend they go. Accelerator all the way home. Will look to improve from P8 and get under 3 seconds once again. Can the little Renault give him what he needs? Across the line, finds himself in P6, a second and a half. That's more respectable from the Italian. Mark, meanwhile, in P3 crosses the line. Does not improve, though, unfortunately for himself. Anil Tanovic and Beamer Black will be closing in on the line. Up to the line comes Beamer Black. Anything special from the yellow Bentley? 2 seconds is the gap at the moment. He jumps up into P3. Just under a second. Has a good qualifying result from Bentley if they can stay where they are. And Altanovic comes around the final corner. 5.7 seconds off the pace. He really needs to get the grip of this car. Up to the line he will come. And across the line momentarily. No improvement for Anil Tanovic once again. Really struggling in this set of cars. The man who won from last time out won't want to be trying to repeat that. He'll want to try and repeat the win, but it'll be a lot easier if he can do it from somewhere that isn't last place. He's yet to set a valid lap time, however. So you can see he's 21.8 seconds off the pace in P11. As he gets a little bit of a squirm on through this corner. Very tricky corner. Feels so slow when you just want to go fast. All these guys running headlights as if it's going to give them some extra speed. But down into the final chicane he will come. It salts the inside curve, but that leaves him a little bit wide for the second curve. He should have taken more on the inside of the first one, and not taken as much as the second one, but nevertheless, hopefully it will be a better lap. Qualifying is complete, so this will be the freaking Joker's final attempt. And across the line, P7 for the freaking Joker. Now it's crunch time in terms of pole position, because these boys are on the final lap. Chaza has not made the cut, and I believe that is JFD coming up to the line. This will be his final lap of the session for P10, and he will stay in P10. And then we have the red and black car in the background of Nemesis Racing. His final lap, up to the line he comes. Crosses the line. An improvement, but not enough to change anywhere on the track. Mark will now come up to the line. Can he challenge for pole position? 1.1. He will go up into P3, but will not challenge on this particular occasion. Beamer Black, the next man. Can he challenge for pole position? He's 7/10 off the pace. Looks like it's an invalidated lap time, and he will not as he gets his lap invalid. So now it's the battle between Cone Joker and Galactic Skull 2. Everyone else has finished their lap. That should be in contention for pole position until something incredible happens. Colin McAllister, Galactic Skull 2, riding the curves in the Bentley. Will come around the final corner. Can he take P1 away from Kedshi in the Bentley? Up to the line comes the Bentley. Can he at least challenge? 4 attempts he's got to find. Up to the line. No improvement. So it looks, when all is said and done, Kedshi takes pole position and extends his advantage to over a second of the rest of the field. Phenomenal performance by Kedshi. Finally unlocks his qualifying potential after 2 races of misery in qualifying. Takes pole position in the Mercedes 159 black, blue and grey car. Unless Murcielago has anything to say about it. Was that Murcielago? Murcielago improved, but did he take pole? I'm not sure. He did not. Murcielago did not take pole, but he takes P2, which means we do have a battle on our hands. Look at the gap between Murcielago and Galactic Skull 2. Less than a 1/10 of a second, and then there's less than a 1/10 of a second between Galactic Skull 2 and Mark. So first to fourth, second to fourth really, because Kedshi's in a league of his own at the moment. But second to fourth is very compact. Second to fifth, actually you could even stretch it. Second to sixth is very compact. So we're in for some good racing, I'm sure. But it will all be determined by who gets the best run, I'm sure. Who will get the best run? Kedshi looks to have the outside line for turn 1. If we analyse that while the drivers are getting ready, he's going to have the outside, so he's got to make sure he gets the better jump on Murcielago. Now, of course, here's the interesting thing. Kedshi is on the outside line, and you might think, why does getting P2 give you a better start? Why does starting second give you a better advantage? Now, the reasoning is, number 1 spot is on the outside because that is the racing line. The racing line has more rubber laid down because more cars are circulating on it. So the inside line of the track is going to be very dirty, and therefore there'll be less grip. So that's the trade-off. Murcielago will start on the inside line, have an advantage to squeeze out the Mercedes into turn 2. But Kedshi on the outside in the Mercedes should have the better grip. But we'll find out as we get ready to go racing in Barcelona, Circuit de Catalunya. Lights out and away we go, and it looks like they all got a pretty even start. Murcielago side by side with Kedshi as they come down into turn 1 for the first time. It looks like the BMW just pulling ahead slightly, has the inside line. Kedshi's going to have to do the work around the outside if he wants to keep first place. Murcielago takes an early advantage, contact between the leaders straight away, banging doors, and therefore Kedshi loses out but remains in P2. Mark has made his way up into third, and there's a big accident in the background involving Anel Tanovic, Cone Joker and Nemesis Racing. Big accident in the background as 3 of the backmarkers take themselves out. The race continues further up there. We have a McLaren battle going on, but no closer than Galactic Skull 2 and Mark. That's the closest on the track. The McLaren's getting a little bit involved as well now. The McLarens have a huge accident themselves. And the McLarens go around. Beamer Black was caught up in that as well. Chazza gets spun around, and it looked like freaking Joker just went for a gap that was not there. To further contact on this lap. Now the freaky Joker probably already in hot water, chasing down the Audi. He can't afford to take too many risks here. He's got to play it safe because he's probably already under investigation for that last incident he just had as we come onto the back stretch. And the back straight in the slipstream, but the Audi just has the more horsepower and just pulls away from the Audi and leaving the McLaren in the dust. The McLaren really got to exercise its right of extra aerodynamics on the straight. So Murcielago leads from Kedshi, from Galactic Skull, from Mark. All a pretty big set of gaps already after the early contest. You can see we have some cars over 20 seconds down, meaning they will have damage and more than likely need to pit. But around the final corner we come. It is still McLaren versus Audi. The Audi cuts the corner. I'm pretty sure he'll get a warning for that, but then the McLaren follows it up by track extending. Mark's in the pits though. So was Mark caught up in that? Did Mark get a jump start? I'm not sure. Either way, we have an Audi going defensive on the very first lap. So the freaking Joker got an excellent run out of the final corner and now has to do it all the way around the outside, however. And that's going to be a bold task, as it looks like Audi's going to win this fight for now. Goes a little bit wide in turn one. That will help the McLaren, but all is said and done, it's looking pretty good for Audi right now. But we can see we have 4 cars in the pits after that early accident, and Altanovic will now make it 5. That's over half of the grid stuck in pit lane, but the freaking Joker's finally getting a run on JFD, has the inside line on the Audi, and the Audi just gets out of the way, subdues the position. Good move from there, and the Audi gets on the power a bit too early. Looks like he skids himself off into the grass and has a little bit of issues regarding that one. But he's already pulling away from the Audi like he's not even there. It's a good effort. Kedji's brought the gap to Murcielago down to under a second, as Colin McAllister in the Bentley trying to hold on for dear life as well. We have a lot of cars leaving the pit lane, so I would say lapped cars are definitely going to come into it. We can see just how much damage Chazza must have, because he's staying in the pits so much longer, and we have a retirement already, and Altanovic has retired from the race, so that Audi not going to make it past lap 2 on this in this event. 7/10 of a second is the gap now between Kedji and Murcielago. Kedji really letting that Mercedes go to work. Pushing with all his might. He's got to try catch that BMW. Now, interesting fact, Murcielago and Galactic Skull 2 are 2 of the only drivers that I can think of off the top of my head that have stayed in their cars all season. Other guys have swapped whenever they've had the opportunity. So consistency from them guys has been pretty good, considering they've had a disadvantage of other cars being selected all season. Under half a second the gap now between Kedji and Murcielago for the battle for the lead of this race, and it's getting close. The Mercedes just looks so much more comfortable at this stage in the race. Kedji's closing in though. He's right behind Murcielago. You rather get the feeling that he could take him this lap. It just looks like it's Kedji's day in terms of pace, but Murcielago, I'm sure, will fight with absolutely everything available in that BMW. And then a hungry Bentley driver will sit in the background and wait to pick up the scraps if this battle goes wrong. Of course, that's what happened last time out. It was role reversal. It was Galactic Skull 2 fighting up at the front, and third place picked up the scraps after their accident. This time he'll hope something similar happens to these guys for his sake. But Murcielago pulled back 2/10 through the middle sector, so the BMW finding its stride through sector 2, but seems to be struggling in 1 and 3. And that's where Kedji's Mercedes just excels. However, Kedji making a mistake there, loses a further 2/10 on Murcielago. That could cost him. That will cost him one of his attacks this lap. He won't be able to close in down that back straight unless, I'd say, he's within half a second when they get on that back straight. It's too much of a difference. It's not like Formula 1 where you get DRS. When you're within a second. In GT, you've got to do it all yourself using the natural elements of slipstream, and being anything less than half a second back, I'd say, is too much in these cars. Freaking Joker is closing in though. You can see him in the background. Galactic Skull 2 has closed in quite significantly on Kedji as well this lap, however, as well. Impressive from Nemesis, given his early demise. We have JFD coming into pit lane, perhaps for damage, not sure. But a lot of cars already theoretically out of this race through no fault of their own. Wow, you say that. The incident up for review, I'm sure, and that will be exciting to watch. Apologise for the camera angles you were seeing there. That is a Project Cars 2 issue, unfortunately. Not sure what that was all about, but the battle for first is still pretty close. It's less than a second and a half covering these guys. That's now just gone to over a second and a half. And I'm sure it will be exciting to watch all the while. But it is getting close. Kedji's pushing with all his might, but he's just staying ahead of the Bentley right now. So Kedji has lost a little bit of pace over the last few laps and is dropping away from the BMW that leads this race. You see how hard they're working the brake pedal. Murcielago made a mistake through there though, losing lots of time because of that mistake. You can see on the timing board on the top left, He just bled time out after getting too early on the throttle. Then it looks like he went a bit too wide as well. So the pressure affecting BMW in there. The Bentley goes pretty wide. Now Kedji's quite close here. It all depends on the run he gets, but I still think he's too far back because he gets a pretty rubbish run. And that allows the Bentley to close back in. So I think we'll be back for the same story over the course of this next lap. Top three are close to just struggling to fight each other. And we noticed this earlier on this season in Formula 1. This track is impervious to passing. It's very hard to pass around the circuit, despite looking quite easy. Oh, Murcielago's made a mistake. Murcielago makes a big mistake and loses the lead of this motor race. Murcielago is down into second. He's hot on the coattails of Kedji, however. What happened there? He looks like he just got too early on the throttle and has lost it, but now absolutely giving it everything to get back at Kedji. Around Sec 2, this is where the BMW's been better than the Mercedes this entire race. And now he's got to use that advantage to get back ahead of Kedji before Kedji can find his stride and get away. And I'm sure he'll try to do that the best he can, right up behind the Mercedes as they come onto the back straight. He's got to get a good run and he can try into the very obscure left corner. Coming up is very tight. If he gets the inside line, he can easily squeeze out the Mercedes. He's got to get on him if he wants to win this race before that Mercedes gets comfortable. And there's the send up the inside from Murcielago. We said he needed to do it early, and he has. And now Necchi has really got to fight it back, but subdues the position. The BMW takes the lead in the strongest part of the track for the BMW. The BMW utilized its advantage through there. And now Kedji's just got to stay with him and attempt to attack him into turn one. But Murcielago was wise, calculated, and made a good move to retake the lead of this race after making that mistake. Bentley didn't really close in at all. He's within half a second of the BMW. I said I reckon he could have a go within half a second. It's now 3 tenths, 2 tenths. Is he going to send it up the inside? That'll be from an awful long way back. No. He brings it to 2 tenths, but just doesn't have the brakes. And about they go, both they've gone. They've both gone. Galactic Skull 2 takes the lead with 20 minutes to go because they both messed up the braking. That's incredible. I've never seen anything like it. Both the leaders make a huge mistake, allowing Bentley to take the lead of this race by just playing it safe. That is insane. I've never seen anything like that. Kedji gains a position on Murcielago as a result, and Galactic Skull 2 gains 2 positions as Murcielago loses 2 positions. I've never seen anything like that before. So Bentley leads, and a similar story to how it led in Brunner last time out. He's got to stay there for 20 minutes. Kedji will give everything he has, and Murcielago, we know, is good in this second sector, and it looks awfully similar to last lap. However, he's a bit further back than he was, so he's probably not going to be able to throw it up the inside of this next corner. But I'm certain he's going to try get close in, and you can just see the BMW has such better brakes into that corner. That's why he was able to send it last time, because he could just brake so much later. And now he's chasing down the Mercedes. Can he have a go into turn one? Oh, he might do, because Kedji's made a mistake. He's now looking to the outside of the chicane. He needs to stay back and focus on the bigger objective, though. That's only going to slow him down and cost him an opportunity of an overtake into turn one. He should have just stayed back and let Kedji have his moment instead of trying to capitalise it on right away. But it looks like the BMW might have enough horsepower to deal with it down the straight. But as they reach top velocity, it's not happening on this lap. Now, did he make a mistake into turn one? Oh, the BMW is struggling through turn one. You can see it's dancing on the brakes, and it's so hard to hold on to it. That hard on the brakes. The Bentley looks comfortable through there. The Mercedes looks comfortable through there. Just not the BMW. However, the Mercedes did make a mistake last time, but he kind of got distracted by Murcielago having his own incident, and there he goes into the wall, Murcielago. And it's all gone wrong again for the BMW. How many times does it have to go wrong for this BMW driver before he gets a break? Now, does that bring Nemesis onto his tail? No, it doesn't, but he might have damage. It's very much a two-horse race for the lead now. Galactic Skull 2 versus Ketchy, as Murcielago eliminates himself from the competition. You look up and down the grid, I believe we did have Cone Joker chasing down Nemesis Racing, who is a lap ahead of him. So Cone Joker is looking to unlap himself. This will be interesting. Cone Joker down in P9, a ways off. Oh, very late on the brakes, and there he goes. Around goes Cone Joker, trying to unlap himself, and in his eagerness to do so, half spins himself out, and loses any chance he has of gaining that lap back on Nemesis Racing. So yes, I'm getting in the chat with Kevin Jacobs, who couldn't make it today because of an update. That's the trouble with PlayStation, unfortunately. You got to watch out for them pesky updates. Murcielago's coming into the pit, so he must have damage. Oh no. How wrong it has all gone for the BMW. He's actually got his window wipers on as well. And he must have damaged the electronic control box when he hit there. Kevin Jacobs couldn't make it due to an update. We have Subaru STI Ryan watching as well, who had a very good race last time out in NORL Formula 1, so congratulations on that performance, and hope you enjoyed watching the racing action for a change instead of being in it. But the gap's 1.5 seconds for the lead of this race. Murcielago eliminated himself from the competition after leading by hitting a wall, and looks like he got severe damage, which has now dropped him out into P5. He leaves the pit lane. Mark goes into turn 1, so he can catch Mark if he keeps up his pace as good as he was, I'm sure. Now, Ketchy is setting fastest lap after fastest lap over the last 3 laps, whereas Galactic Skull 2 keeps getting lap time invalidated, so he's got to be careful not to get a penalty, as Ketchy's really starting to get into a groove here and tried to chase down the Bentley. But the Bentley looking strong at this stage in the race. Looks like it's managed its tyres well in the early phase of this race and is now just cruising. And the Mercedes is really having to push hard and losing time through the final sector to Bentley there. We see, I believe that's JFD coming up to be lapped in the next few laps. Nemesis Racing's up into P3. Despite being in that big accident at the start. I am not sure what that was. I was going to say, I'm not sure where Chazza is. Looks like he's in the ocean. Project Car's having a little bit of issues with the spectator cam today. So we'll stick... Oh my goodness, we're in the ocean. We'll hope this fixes itself soon enough. There we go. Apologies on behalf of Slightly Mad Studios for the technical issues. Kenchi's gained a lot of time through Sector 1. And I mean a lot of time. Oh, that Bentley's going slow. The Bentley's slow. Bentley is slow. An issue with the Bentley. It's come to a crawl. Is it still going at a crawl? His window wipers have come on, his headlights have come on, and the Bentley's slowing significantly. What happened there? It's like he almost had to... I'm not sure. Something's wrong with the Bentley, because that thing is still... We'll get the speedo up to confirm. But that, to me, does not look like it's still at full speed. Is it up to full speed? It's full throttle. He's back up to racing speed, but the Bentley having a technical issue, it seemed, gives up the lead of the race to Ketchy. Now, what happened? I'm not sure what happened to the Bentley there, but we'll investigate after the race. Ketchy then takes the lead due to another technical issue. So the lead has swapped many times, and we've only seen the lead swap legitimately with an overtake once. Now, it looked like that Bentley was having issues all the way through Sector 1 because he lost 8 tenths through the first couple of corners, and then by the time he got up to turn 4, he was at a snail's pace. So, oh, there goes the Audi, spun around. Hopefully it doesn't come back on in front of the Bentley. No, it doesn't. Galactic Skull 2 is trying to hunt down and pass Kedshi once again, but he's got a lot of work to do. Apologise once again for the issues you are seeing with the Project Cars Spectator app. You can see some blue screens appearing. I can confirm they are unfortunately a game issue, which means we have no control over them, so I apologise for that. But meanwhile, yeah, I'm not sure, man. It's been it's been a weird race. We had Murcielago crash out after looking so comfortable in the lead, and then Kedshi and Murcielago both simultaneously spun, which gave Bentley the lead, and then Bentley looked super comfortable leading. It looked so happy in front, not in the dirty air. It was pulling away from the Mercedes and then slowed to a snail's pace with some kind of issue. Lost the lead, dropped back a further couple of seconds after losing the lead, and is now back on the pace. He's brought the gap to 2.5 seconds. He's not quite within overtaking range, but he's brought the gap down. And it looks like he's stronger through the final sector. However, now I say that, it looks like Kedshi gets a very good run at the final corner and gains over a second on the Bentley at the final corner, and gaining even further down the front straight. So good effort. You know, Murcielago's brought that gap to Mark down to 2 seconds. The BMW looking to regain something from this race after crashing. He's setting consistent lap times faster than the rest of the field right now. He's the fastest man on track as it stands. Not in terms of fastest overall lap, but in terms of the laps being set at the moment. You can quite clearly see there on the top left of your screen, a 1:47.773 is the fastest we've had on that last lap. So Murcielago right now is the fastest man on track, and is looking to use that to catch up and pass Mark. Kedshi setting a lap time 2 tenths faster, and Murcielago finds even more time. Murcielago is the fastest man on circuit, so he will likely catch and have to pass Mark. But is that BMW still struggling into turn 1? Looks like he's found a way to drive around it. Still looks like he's struggling. Kern Joker looks to have retired from this race. That's our next victim to lose from this race. So currently Kedshi's lap times are 0.2 of a second faster than the Bentley, which is what he will want to hear. Nemesis Racing is in there with a 48.8 as well. He's to about a tenth, around a tenth faster than Galactical ahead as well. So Galactical not comfortable after losing. We don't know if he's still got a technical issue, actually. That's very true, because now Galactic Skull 2 into the pit lane with 10 minutes to go. Now, what is this for? Is this a scheduled pit stop for tyres, or is this to fix some damage regarding the technical issue? Bentley pits then. And what's going to happen here? Let's see what the Bentley boys opt to do. And it is not the tyres. It's serving his mandatory pit stop, I believe. I believe there is a mandatory stop. I'm not sure. I want to clarify, I do believe there is a mandatory stop. So that, I apologise for making that sound more sinister than it was. So Galactic Skull 2 then serves his mandatory stop. So if we take that into effect, Murcielago will have served his when he got his damage repaired. And Beamer Black, Chazza, JFD, they've already all been into the pits, as has Mark, due to the damage on lap 1. So they'll have poor tyres towards the end, if they opted to change tyres. If not, they're just trying to go to the end. Galactic Skull 2 is now pitted, so it's just Kedshi and Nemesis that are left to pit. Now Kedshi has a comfortable lead of 13 seconds to Nemesis, and if he pitted now, he would likely come back out in the lead. So it might be wise to respond to Bentley, or he can try prolong this to have, well, try extend his gap. We can keep an eye on his times, and we can see straight away if it would be the right call to stay out or not, but he doesn't. He responds to Bentley's undercut and tries to get in there immediately and reseal his lead. Now, will Renault pit Nemesis Racing Or will Renault leave him out for another lap to take the lead of this race? I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure Kedji should get out ahead of the Bentley of Galactic Skull 2. Kedji should get out ahead of Skull. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. It depends how good the outlap from Skull was and how bad and how good or bad the in-lap Kedji was. Nemesis Racing does take the lead of this race, yet to pit though, I believe. So the net lead should still be Kedji or Galactic Skull 2, depending on who comes out where. Now let's take a look. Still in the pits. So now they release. Where's that Galactic Skull 2? Galactic Skull 2 crosses the line now, and looks like he's going to take the lead of this race. The net lead goes to Galactic Skull 2. Did Kedji? That's a long stop from Kedji. Now it looks like they may have changed tyres on that. Galactic Skull 2 made the stop but didn't change tyres. Of course, you don't have to change tyres in your mandatory stop. You just have to pull into the box, stop, and go again. That is the technicality of them rules. Say, oh, Murcielaga's gone again in the background there. Had another spin as he was closing in for the battle for net second. And it just looks like that BMW struggles so much through turn 1. And it's caught the yellow BMW out once again. But Galactic Skull 2 back into the net lead of this race because Kedji, you can see he lost a lot of time to Mark and Murcielago, who did the same thing as Galactic Skull, which was just stop and go. The technicality of those rules say all you have to do is stop and get released. That serves as your mandatory stop. Now it looks like Kedji didn't want to risk that and has pitted and taken fresh tyres, which caused his stop to be a lot longer than just stopping and going, and he has lost, significantly lost out to the Bentley Galactic Skull 2. Nemesis Racing goes for another lap. Now, what Nemesis Racing could be doing is he could be doing what he did at Bathurst, where he pit on the penultimate lap. With one lap left after his pit stop, Nemesis pitted in Bathurst. That's what it looks like to me the Italian is trying to replicate. Meanwhile, Mark is closing in on Kedji over the course of this lap. Now, Kedji has new tyres, but they are new tyres. They have more grip, but at this stage in the race, they'll still be cold. They'll take a lap to warm up. So Mark, ooh, actually, looks like he darted across the track there from a lack of grip. But right now, Mark has the better heat in his tyres, so he'll be trying to close in on Kedji before Kedji's get up to temperature and hopefully interfere. But it looks like they are now heating up for Kedji as he starts to get a little bit of a move on. The Nemesis leads then from Galactic Skull 2, from Kedji, from Mark, from Murcielago, Beamer Black, Chaz and JFD. If you're just joining us recently, here's what's happened in the race so far. It was Kedji who led off the start of the race and lost the battle for first into turn 1, Murcielago, and then bang doors, Kedji went wide and Murcielago took the race. We then had a huge, we then had a huge accident coming out of turn 1. Which involved Nemesis and Altanovic, and I believe Cone Joker. Big accident at the back, effectively ruled 2 of that 3-car accident out for the contention of victory. Of course, Nemesis looks like he got away with no damage and is still continuing in this race. Then after that, a few corners later, we had the freaking Joker and Chazza come together, which collected Beamer Black on the outside, and Neb guys had to pit for damage as well. After that, it was Murcielago leading from Kedji, and a few back and forth ultimately ended with Murcielago having the better pace. Murcielago then lost the rear end of that BMW into turn 4, whilst, simultaneously, Cone Joker, Kedji and Murcielago both simultaneously spun through turn 1, and that allowed the Bentley to take the lead. After that, it was Bentley, Galactic Skull 2 leading from Kedji, and then Murcielago. Whilst Murcielago was closing in on those two once again to try to take P2 away from Kedji, he lost it at turn 4, crashed into the wall, and effectively brought himself out, and then you saw spun very similar to how Galactic Skull 2 nearly spun just then, just a few laps ago. So Galactic Skull 2 feeling a little bit of pressure while trying to chase down Nemesis Racing, who is yet to pit. Kedji's rolled in a little bit, has the better grip, but Galactic Skull 2's lap times are faster than Kedji's at this stage in the race. So the Bentley seems to be pretty good on worn tyres. Mark still in the hunt as well. I think that it is very much still Galactic Skull 2's race to lose now that he pulled off the technicality strategy, we'll call it, over Kedshi. However, Nemesis is very good at leaving it until the last moment to pit. Now, at the very least, I could say this could put Nemesis, at the very least, in contention for second place. I'd say it definitely secure him a podium, but I'd say this at the very least should help him in his battle for second place. You can see he continues on for another lap. Now, there is no way that Nemesis has not pitted. There is no way, because he would not be this far ahead if he'd had pitted. So I'm sure that it is very much a wild strategy from Renault to leave it till the last moment again. If we think about, if we can get up the lap times, these guys are doing about 1:49s for Nemesis. That means he has to pit on this lap, because the next lap will be the final lap. So Nemesis on the last lap before his pit stop, you would assume, unless he chooses not to pit, which would likely end up in a disqualification due to the mandatory pit stop system, which I'm sure there is. I apologise if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty certain there is a mandatory pit stop that Nemesis will have to complete on this lap, because he can't complete it next lap because the race will be over. So in a strategy similar to what he did at Bathurst, he's going to leave it until the last possible moment to pit in the Renault RSR1, sponsored by Thrustmaster on the sides. He's got good pace still in the Renault though, so the longer he stays out, the more he puts himself in contention. Especially if Galactic Skull 2 was making mistakes like he did out of turn 1 and 2, that could bring Nemesis into play quite easily. But it's a wild strategy from the black and red Renault. So he should have to pit on this lap, because the next lap will be the final lap. So, moment of truth. Renault into the pits then. Yeah, I thought I was right. Into the pits comes Renault to serve that final pit stop. The bizarre strategy that has seen them in the lead of this race goes head to head with Bentley pitting on a few laps earlier in the race than Kedshi, which undercut the Mercedes quite well. So into the box, they'll stop, no actual tyre change, they will release him, and down the pit lane he will trundle. Galactic Skull 2 meanwhile, job done easily. Kedshi is now the next man who will test the mettle of that Renault. Should be done quite easily, I'd say, if Kedshi's got this done. Now, will Nemesis Racing get out ahead of Mark? That is the next challenge for the Renault team. The Renault gets up to speed, but the Renault coming down the straight already has that top speed and blasts past Nemesis, and a significant undercut for the Alpine liveried Renault puts Mark back up on the podium. And the wild Bathurst strategy has not worked out for Nemesis Racing like it did in round 1. It shows how this is very much a gamble. But Galactic Skull 2 is on his final lap. If he can just make it to the finish line, he will claim his first victory of the season. Of course, the man already has 2 Nemesis Online Racing League victories in his career, one of them being in the Formula 1 Classic Series. Never won in the FIA GT3 Series though. Looks to amend that today after what happened in Brunner. Down the back straight for the final time, Nemesis picks up a warning, cutting the track limits as he is trying his best to catch third place Mark. Unless Mark made some mistake. That's him doing it. Galactic Skull 2 taking the last sector very cautiously. Just wants to bring this Bentley home now. Mark feeling the pressure from Nemesis. Nemesis really pushing him all the way home. He'll hope not to mess it up. But the Bentley comes around the final corner. They've done the job here today, and they've finally, after so many misfortunes, takes the victory here in Catalunya. Bentley win after a great undercut on Kedshi. Kedshi will be biting himself that he took new tyres. Across the line he comes, and Mark and Nemesis come across the line. Mark will finish off the podium, The bizarre strategy at Renault didn't work for the Thrustmaster team here today. They will finish just outside of the podium in P4. Murcielago will rue himself after spinning about 2-3 times during the course of this race. Comes across the line, P5 for Murcielago in the yellow BMW. A day of what if. Beamer Black got caught up in that early accident, comes home to finish P6. And then quite a ways back will be Chazza and JFD coming through the final chicane. Now they will round up your top 10. But it's Galactic Skull 2 in the Bentley that takes his first win of the FIA GT3 series here at NORL. The Bentley looking like it overcame technical issues during that race, where it effectively came to a snail's crawl and let Kedshi through, but comes back to take the victory. Great effort from Galactic Skull 2, who finishes P1 ahead of Kedshi in P2. Mark will round off the podium, a big undercut for him ahead of Nemesis Racing after Nemesis made a mistake by going too long on his strategy. P5, we'll see Murcielago, who had several crashes, will be biting himself for those today, I'm sure. Beamer Black, Chazza and JFD, however, are all caught up in opening lap incidents, make it to the finish, whereas Anel Tanovic and Kern Joker do not finish the race. The first victory for Bentley. The first victory for Galactic Skull 2. That has been the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya Grand Prix in the FIA GT3 series. Congratulations to our podium sitters today. And the next time you will see us will be at the lovely Round 4 Baku circuit for an NORL Formula 1 2018 championship. After that will be Wednesday for round number 4 of the FIA GT3 series. Until then, enjoy the rest of your evening, and goodbye.